right up when that progress came. That people should have known. We knew then. Anybody, we knew
absolutely.
then. And Pedro should have walked that night, mate. George, you remember you came on and did the rant, and I think I started the show off there.
Ox, that's the. I mean that's the thing. That's what I had against the board, Ox. We had a discussion on here. I think it was last week, and everybody was saying about the board that have they done and things like that. And that's the black mark I've got against the board, Ox. That was an absolutely ridiculous appointment. Now you take wee Alfredo out of that, and you take wee Candias out of that. And we're a couple of the guys knew that Pedro brought in. Maybe got to be able to make money off that, but that was just a ridiculous appointment with our board. And then for to bring in him, and my biggest bugbear is for to bring in Mark Allen 6 weeks later. Absolutely ridiculous. Now that's the thing I had against our board. For by that, I think our board's done a great job, Box. I really do. I think they've done. They've put out a lot of fires for us, and they've fought a lot of fights for us, and they're still fighting fights. But that could have destroyed our board, because that is a ridiculous. And somebody still on that board now made that decision to bring that guy in. So I will never ever understand how they could do that. A guy and now I was probably wrong at the time as well, because you can who I wanted at the time. So I was probably wrong, but I'm not getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds to make these decisions and go and look at guys. They went to the other side of the world to bring a guy in that was never ever going to work, Ox. And you were famous one here for saying it's not going to work, it's never going to work. But hey, let's give the guy a chance to see how he gets on. And from day one to the day he finished against Kilmarnock, it was never ever going to work, Ox. Ridiculous.
I remember we took a bit of flack in here. You supported me. I said they'll not last till Christmas, and people were surprised.
I remember that, Ox, and people, it caused a few arguments on here when people were thinking about the fact you had said that, but you were absolutely bang on, Ox, absolutely bang on. That was never a Rangers manager.
No suited for here, no suited. It was a strange one. I can understand why they'd done it, but I just couldn't get my head around it. And as soon as it started, it was an accident waiting to happen for me.
I have to admit, he was treated appallingly. Another Rangers manager treated appallingly by the press here and the mainstream media. Absolutely shocking. Every one of them. As soon as the man walked in the door, they had it in for him. Whether he was a Rangers manager or no, they just went for him anyway. That's the truth. They went for him because he was a Rangers manager, of course. But they never accepted him at all. They wanted him out the door.
I've got to be honest, guys. I got behind him, but simply because he was Rangers manager. But Ox, I think I was even more vociferous than you. For day one, I found that astonishing. That man should never have been anywhere near my club. And I'm a bit like George. The present board, they three guys are still on it. How they ever came to that conclusion in the first place? You're saying you could understand it? No, never at any time could I understand it. He knew nothing about Scottish football at all. And he didn't bring Alfredo in. That was Jonathan Johansson that pushed that. The guy should never have been anywhere near our club. And we all know that in hindsight. But at the time, oh no, I was not. For day one, I was never convinced. Never at any time. I couldn't buy into it. Not at all.
I think that Mr. Robertson and the chief financial officer at the time were the ones that signed Caixinha up. I think I said it then when they done it. It was a wrong one, and it proved to be right. But the truth of the matter is, he was a Rangers manager, so he was getting my support in that sense. I don't like anybody trying to push anybody Rangers out of the game entirely. I just don't like it, and I think the press in this country, they want to be able. If we could, but shut them down. Seriously.
There was a subgroup for the board, mate, of 3-man board members who done the selection process, which is no unusual. You know, and
I think that boy Robertson is going to. I've said this before. He's not a big enough character.
I don't think he was on the subgroup, mate, who done the selection.
I think he was actually. I think it was.
It was 3 board members. I don't want to go into it too much. I think George knows where I'm coming from. Correct, George?
You're absolutely bang on what you're saying. Also, I think it's actually there and open. I think it's been written, but you're absolutely bang on what you're saying. And by the way, I think he's right in what he's saying as well. Blair's right me saying that it wasn't Caixinha that brought in wee Alfredo. It was actually Jonathan Johansson. So that's another one you can mark off as isn't the one as him. But I just never understood it. I'll never ever understand it. We're talking about the night about Warburton. I thought Warburton was a good appointment at the right time for us. I thought he brought in Davy Weir and made a few good signings, but I could never get behind Caixinha. I could never spell his name, and that doesn't go to say much, but I could never spell his name, and that annoyed me. I had to Google the guy's name to understand who it was and things like that. And I just daft things like that. And then see when he started talking about caravans and he was picking up glacies and cups and bottles and that when he was doing his press conference talks.
Ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was just embarrassing. The whole thing was just absolutely embarrassing. I can't just say everybody tried to get back behind him as much as they could, but even when you're talking to somebody, I hope he does well, see at the back of your mind, you're saying to yourself, this guy has never got to be a Rangers manager. He's never got to hack it in Scotland. He's never got to be a Rangers manager. It was just embarrassing, Bridge.
I can just see the press saying to him, and what do you mean by that? Going to show us? You know what I mean? Just like that. Going to show us in the next minute glasses.
It was fun.
Absolutely.
Fox, you're a fair man, and then JFK. Fox?
What are you asking me about?
Caixinha. We ended up on Caixinha for Warburton.
I said my wee bit about Caixinha, mate.
Should they got the job?
No, I kind of feel sorry. As I said, it was all down to the board members not having the football experience, mate. Mm-hmm. You need to remember back then we had no scouting, no nothing, mate. We brought in the two Mexicans without scouting them. The board approved the signings. They trusted Caixinha because he'd obviously gotten the job. But at that time, our scouting system was absolutely murder, mate, you know. We never checked out players that he brought in.
JFK?
No, I can't argue much about that, you know. He's worse than Warburton.
Of course he was.
Caixinha, you know, what a disaster he was, you know. Running through hedges and long grass to try and placate, but no.
Running through hedges.
we got him in March and he left in October, guys, in 2017. And his win rate for 27 games was 51.8. That's but he was a terrible manager. He came across as somebody who looked down on people. I think he tried to put himself across as somebody because I come from a country that he deemed as far better football than Scotland's got, and he just tried to put himself there as one of the world's best managers. But still, at the same time, I agree with Foxy's saying. A lot of football people at Ibrox were nil. There was nobody there who could tell us who the guy was. And if Pedro Mendes brought him and others, then who was listening? What board members were listening to what was happening at Rangers? Nobody. So it was a disaster. It was horrible to watch. Really horrible to watch. And some of the football we played was absolute shite, you know. That's my sweary word there for the night. It was rubbish.
Ox, for me, Ox, can your JFK, can any of you tell me one that you've seen that's been worse that we brought in? I can't. He's undoubtedly the worst manager that Rangers Football Club has ever had. And he should never have been there in the first place. It was a disaster.
Full-time manager, I would agree with that, mate. I would agree with that. As the interim manager, I thought young Graham Murray unravelled in front of my eyes. It was too big a job for him.
That was the old Lee Harvey Oswald there. Ox. He was a patsy, mate, and
Lee Harvey Oswald.
That was no.
He's well, that's JFK stuff now.
Yeah, see, you got that there, didn't you? JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald, good on you. Listen, Caixinha was the world's worst manager that Rangers ever...
Who shot Lee Harvey Oswald?
Eh?
Pedro.
Pedro.
Nobody can argue.
Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby. There you
Guys,
go.
nobody can argue the point. He without decrying the wee guy, he should never have been there in the first place, but he was undoubtedly the worst manager we've ever had. Nobody was worse than him. Nobody.
The good thing is it didn't last long, but he done a lot of damage. But George Rogan, there's a name that was mentioned when we started talking about the game in 2016. He was on the bench and we loved him as a player. Davy Weir. And when Davy came back in, you thought, right, that's a great fix. He knows all about the club. He's defensively astute. He'll sort out the defence. He knows about Rangers. He knows about the demands. It was as if Davy had never been at a club.
Correct.
Aye, Davy knows about defending, and I'll never ever. It's one of these guys about getting the coach and player and things like that. You separate it, Ox. When you bring in Davy Weir, I thought we're finally back in safe hands. Big Davy Weir, been at the club, played a lot of games with the club, European final with the club, done a lot of things for your club. You came in, you thought our defence has got to be all right, and they signed Rob Kiernan. You think to yourself, maybe this is not going to be all right, Ox. But we came in, we Warburton, they done a job. I thought they were a good fit. I thought they were quite a good match. But at the end of the day, Ox, they both left in the same circumstances, which kind of soured it a wee bit, Ox, didn't it? Like at the end, it did sour it a wee bit the way they eventually left. I mean, they left to go to Nottingham Forest. They never left to go to a Man City or a Man Chelsea or anything like that when we were doing in that division or where we had been. They left to go to a Nottingham Forest, Ox. So, Big Davy Weir, for me, he made his bed as well in his time when he left Rangers, Ox, which is pretty sad, to be honest.
Ox, can I just put in there a minute? Somebody, JC's put on the lobby there that Tom Miller's just reported in Rangers TV that Ewan Chester's back in, wanting at the club again.
All right.
I think that's a real positive because he had a great record at Ibrox.
That's a blast for the past.
He went to Norwich, didn't he? He went to Norwich or something.
I think he went to a couple of places, Bridgeman. But he had a great record in backroom staff for years and years.
I thought it was a great
experience anyway.
Ewan Chester, because it did sound like somebody out of an American Western, didn't it, Jay?
Aye.
John Wayne's sidekick.
Aye.
Ewan Chester.
Ewan Chester, get your guns out.
That's a good listen if you can listen to later on or the more or something. Rocksport, Tom Miller was on Rocksport the night talking all things Rangers, and it's a really good listen, by the way. So he seems to be quite encouraged with what's happening at Rangers, but a good listen if anyone can get the podcast up.
Tom was brilliant on the show. He came on for half an hour and we couldn't get him off. He was brilliant.
He was excellent, Ox, wasn't he?
Oh, I loved him. It's just his enthusiasm and the stature of the man, the passion he has for the club. It's just, it oozes out every pore.
Yeah. And his stats, he can pull stats out of the air just like that. He knows everything. He's really, really good.
Do you know sorry, John. Know the game that I saw Caixinha start to fold, and I remember it well. It was we played the Spoon Burners, and they beat us 3-2 at Ibrox. Big Tab scored an own goal at. Remember that game?
Ryan Jack then after nothing.
Aye, and that seemed to be the beginning of the end for Pedro, because he didn't last much longer. He lasted about another 9 or 10 games after that, right enough, but we drew with the Thistle. I think Ibrox with 2 games in a row. I think we played Hibs and Hearts. We played Hearts the following week. And nothing each game. You're right, Oxia. And it just seemed to implode after that for me. So, it was a poor manager, and things went from bad to worse. He left October, wasn't it? November he left. October. He left before Guy Fawkes. Remember that? And made some terrible results. And I'm sure the puddle drinkers before he left beat us. They did, didn't they? They beat us 2-0 or 3-0. 2-0. So I was a poor manager. Poor manager.
JFK, can I just say there's one of the boys in the lobby is looking for you, Bertie Bassett.
Bertie Bassett.
Bertie Bassett, he's in the lobby, he's asking where's JFK.
JFK's here, Bertie. You get your England team picked.
Oh, I like that one.
Okay, he's talking about your comment in the Daily Record, JFK.
That's no me.
A different Mr. Miller.
There's
Right.
Jimmy Miller is a name, but it's not my name.
Well, I know
I
there's a
don't
few Jimmy
solely
Millers,
own
I know
that
that.
name. But I'm ER. I was talking to Oxygen about that today. That's an ER. It's no me.
Well, that's what he was on about.
It's no me, Bertie. It's no me, pal. There you go.
Where were we? Davy Weir, Bridgeman. Obviously, you were a fan of his. I've heard you speak highly when we were past it. Didn't work for him neither.
Well, I think the big disappointment was that Davy came in and he'd been with the Rangers for a number of years, knew everything there was to know about our club to all intents and purposes, knew our habits, knew how the fans felt about things, and for some reason or other, and he's obviously a master-class defender when he came to us, and even for his age, he was absolutely superb for us. Can't understand, and I don't know anyone who does understand why we never ended up with a really, really good defence. And the only thing I could think of, and I dare say most folk did, is that we didn't have any money to buy a decent centre half, to build the bedrock of your defence. We just didn't have the money. That's the only thing I can think of. But we brought in the boy Kiernan, and boy Kiernan was probably a step below what was needed right at that time. And he ended up, when we moved up, as you do, we moved up to play better football and so on and so forth. We just got lost. Just seemed to get lost, you know.
Can I just jump in a wee second? Brisbane, do you see what you're talking about Davy Weir? Do you think if Davy Weir was second in command to a different manager, do you think he would have progressed better in his football career as a manager? Because I certainly do.
Well, I based on what I can only go with the experience he was with the Rangers, and there's a big comfort blanket. He knows all about the Rangers, and he should be excelling at his role as assistant manager, and he should be helping the manager as much as possible because the manager should be depending on him. But something didn't go right.
Was he allowed today? No, you're right, mate. Was he allowed to do that though?
We don't know. That's what I'm saying. Something didn't go right because you can't. It's inexplicable. How come Davy Weir didn't know anything about Rangers? How come? You know.
You're right.
Do we understand the assistant manager's role, but Jimmy? But we're getting the same complaints about Gary McAllister now as well.
Well, I think
that we don't see him doing anything, but they must have a role out with what the fans see, mate, you know.
Well, I think we'll just need to look at Graham Souness and Walter, but the rapport they had, and then you looked at Walter and Archie Knox. Have we had anybody since that, folks, that you could say that no clashing personalities, but two robust men who love football and they're able to put their points of view here.
You're bang on. The two that you've mentioned, Archie Knox and Walter, they were fiery characters in themselves. Gary McAllister and Davy Weir. Davy Weir, his whole demeanour doesn't give you confidence. I know he was a great player, mate, but no, as Fox says, do we really know what the day behind the scenes? They just don't give you that impression. They don't.
No, well, me and Fox bumped our gums about Gary McAllister before. I mean, I'm no keen on Gary McAllister, but I'll support him obviously.
Absolutely.
And what Fox is saying is right, but I just think that number ones and number twos. I mean, you can go back. We can go to all different. Alex Ferguson and Archie Knox is number two, and they battered off each other, you know. And Walter Smith took Archie Knox to Everton. So for me, maybe Gary McAllister's maybe not the right fit. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that obviously all Blue Noses that come next season we do something that we want to achieve. But I just think that there's just something no clicking there. Maybe that Stevie G's maybe got a wee bit inexperienced backroom staff, and he's not able to click. So I'll see what happens next season. Maybe he'll sort that out. But Rangers tradition shows you. I'd have loved to have seen Davy Weir stay at Ibrox in some sort of capacity because I loved him the same as everybody else, and I think it was a shame the way things happened. But I think the only reason he went was because of Warburton, and I'd love to have seen him play some
I get
part.
that, but when they came in as a number 2, and obviously Fox is right, you don't know what the brief is, and then the number 1 might want to do everything, but you thought, right, Davy will set up our defence. We couldn't even set up right if you think back at corner kicks. We couldn't defend nothing. And you're thinking, what is Big Weir doing here? Blue Star?
Oh, you're absolutely bang on, mate. Our two, it didn't seem to matter who we tried to adjust to put at centre half, and I'm actually surprised with Bridgeman because that's Bridgeman's 40 every night. Our centre halves under them were absolutely diabolical, and he was the one man that you kept pinning your hopes on, as you just said. You're saying the guy was a stalwart for us in defence. Surely to goodness he must know a centre half. And as you said earlier on there, we started bringing in the Senderos, and there was talk of the one guy that had the big bump in his head that Les got, and oh dearie me, you're saying yourself, these guys are costing thousands and thousands of pounds, and they're hopeless, absolutely hopeless. I mean, no guy Senderos, how many games did he get? I mean, he played against the puddle drinkers.
Absolutely dreadful.
Exactly, he played against them and he was diabolical, man.
We've been joined by a caller who knows absolutely nothing about being a centre half.
Aye, I know.
How we doing, Ryan?
How you doing,
second worst centre half on this show.
I'll tell you what. If we were picking the team, I've picked the Rangers radio team. You were doing as a substitute, Ryan.
How are you all doing, guys? You all right?
All right, Ryan.
Everything cool.
Taking a walk down memory lane. Give us your thoughts, mate.
I've come in for work there, mate. I caught the tail end of the last conversation, and I thought I'd just phone up, mate, at the last 20 minutes and just keep my opinion on that. I think talking about assistant managers and things, that the problem the day is, I don't know if it was JFK that was saying that there, I can't remember, but unfortunately, like said, Archie Knox and stuff like that, the new guys are Archie Knox's stature and the way Archie is they guys are outlawed in football now, unfortunately. And I think us as a club sometimes, I think Fox said it last week about what we're looking for in that captain is there the types of players in football anymore. And it's the same with assistant managers and stuff like that. Guys like Archie Knox are, the way that they are and the passion and all that, they're very few and far between anymore. You can't treat the modern day player, you can't speak to the modern day player or be the kind of aggressive way with modern day players these days. And listen, I heard somebody saying there as well about Stevie G having an inexperienced backroom staff. I don't feel for any minute at Gary McAllister's inexperience coaching wise. He's managed and coached at some top clubs. He's played and captains from his country. We've got one of the most outstanding young coaches in the game, who's been Liverpool reserve team manager, Sao Paulo in Brazil assistant manager, who's been at Chelsea, and is the boy Mick Beale, who by all accounts is absolutely different class. So I wouldn't say Stevie G's getting an experienced backroom staff there. And it's hard for... I don't know what the fans are...
Team, mate?
Sorry, what was that, Ox?
Should we have any mix in our backroom stuff?
No, mate, but as I said, Ox, and it was a wee bit about Davy Weir as well. I was the same, I'm a centre-half, and maybe you go into a club and you think to yourself, right, that's one thing, he's a different class centre-half, he's going to have that department sorted, but it's all technical now, and under Mark Warburton, it's all technical. So Davy Weir is obviously, learning that side of the game, and it becomes technical. What is a centre-half these days? Let's be honest about it. What is an old-fashioned centre? You don't see Richard Goffs, John Browns, these types of centre-halves anymore. This is through the whole world football. The game has changed now. A centre-half, you've got, first and foremost, you've got to be good on the ball. You've got to build for the back. It's not about kicking it and heading it the way you're facing. And unfortunately, that's just the way football is these days. There's no many of them. There's maybe an odd few the big boy McKenna's a bit rough and ready at Aberdeen, but the boy Berra and stuff like that. But there's no, I mean, the players that are now starting out for me is, I think the young boy at Hearts Suiter's a tremendous centre half, and I think we've been linked with him today. I seen that, and it's just the way the game is these days. It's totally different now.
Ryan, your experience, mate. See, like, obviously, if we think back to the Warburton, 3 league goals at set pieces, who would take that? Because that's when you go in the grass and you need to get your positioning right, wouldn't you?
Definitely, mate. And listen, it's not to say that I don't think that they've maybe not been working on it. I think if you look across British football, Scottish football, British football, world football now, you know, teams seem to lose goals for set pieces a lot. There isn't, as I say, there's no centre halves anymore that go and dominate the ball in the air, that command the area, that own the 18-yard box. It's totally different now. Absolutely, totally different. And you know, we were very, very poor under Warburton. I still feel we're very, very poor at the back under Gerrard. I would like to think that's maybe something that we're going to address in the summer. But again, it's where do you find the money to sign a centre half who can head it, who's great on the ball, and who's very, very quick? That's a lot of money these days to get a player like that.
Bridge would do for nothing.
Aye. What Ryan's saying is absolutely true. They do the combination of what you require nowadays. I mean, I just said this the last time I was at Ibrox watching my team, and we played Hearts, and I thought to myself, what are we doing at this? They could have scored 3 goals against us from free kicks and corners. We didn't win one ball, not one high ball where their defence won, and just couldn't do it. I don't know why, just couldn't do it.
Ryan, can I ask you a question? You're a bit younger than us, obviously. Can you give us a wee insight?
Ages with me.
Can you give us a wee insight, Ryan, as to why the likes of Rangers and the puddle drinkers and everybody else, especially in Scottish football, I'm absolutely baffled over the last number of years as to why we don't see any young guys coming through, and I'm talking about in the best half of the sides, because you don't at centre half. Why is that?
It's a hard question to answer as well, mate. You know, I think we'd maybe have to know McCrory's new kind of vetoed as a centre half, but maybe there is this wee bit of transitional period, you know, in football, you know, where it is very, very difficult to find centre halves that can play now. You've got to play first and foremost. If you can't play, for the back, there's no way you're progressing in the team. But
I'm baffled, Ryan, as to why most centre halves that we look at now. I mean, there's one tonight that didn't even go on the pitch for Man City at 56 million. The guy Stone. Very, very few of them seem capable of actually rising to header a ball. That baffles me.
Is there any centre halves?
6'2" and 6'3".
Is there any centre halves that you can think of the new, maybe we've had in the past or known in a short space of time who, or you watch English Premiership games or no maybe Spanish football and stuff like that, but there's no many centre halves about. Honestly, if you look in Scotland, you know, the boy McKenna is probably an old fashioned. He's maybe more suited to the older game what we're talking about, who'll just head it, go and mix it, tackle, win tackles and headers. If you look at Joe Worrell's an England under 21 internationalist.
Yeah.
It's just the makeup now. It's academy level now. It's what they teach you for the ages of 12, 13, 14, 15 and upwards now. It's all technical. It's all good on the ball. I'm sure back in the days when it was 9 in a row and stuff like that, I know there's boys who I know that maybe were very, very good technically, but back then they couldn't mix it. They couldn't win balls in the air. They weren't strong, big, tough. So they fell by the wayside. I think football's done a complete flip for that now, and you really, really have to be good on the ball. If you're not good on the ball, you're not going to progress. And it's difficult because I'm like yours. You know, I want to see us dominating. I want to see Rangers centre halves going winning balls in the air and dominating. But unfortunately, first and foremost, you know, they need to be good on the ball now, and it's very difficult to find that in football.
Anyway, I'll cut across you, mate. I'll come right back to you when we join by a caller. Evening, caller.
How you doing, boys? It's Baloo here.
Hey, Baloo, how you doing?
Not bad, lad. Yourself?
You still king of the swingers?
I still. Swinging what though? Listen, I'm just into work. I'm just into work and I'm enjoying the wee debate. I've got 2 words for you.
Go on then.
David Bates.
David Bates.
He was rotten.
He showed
Okay,
a
where you
bit.
go?
On you go, Ryan.
When last year, 3 Celtic games, man of the match 3 times.
Get the man of the match at Parkhead when we drew the game, didn't he?
Aye.
He also got man of the match in one of the semi-finals where I think we lost a goal late, didn't he?
Aye. But I mean, his performances for a young lad that came through for the reserves, absolutely brilliant. I mean, everybody was saying McCrory before that, but then Bates came in and he pushed him forward into the front of the diamond, and Bates was outstanding. That's why he's in Germany. That's why he's not here. Actually, I think the reason he's not here is because he jumped too soon. I think if Gerrard had been appointed, he would have stayed. But just it's in connection with the discussion. David Bates.
All right. Anybody want to take that? Somebody come in. I don't know who's.
Yeah.
He gave
Can
an
I
interview tonight, guys. He gave an interview to Radio Snide tonight, and he more or less said that he reckoned his games come on leaps and bounds since he went to Germany. I don't know, because we don't see enough of him, you know.
He didn't look very good playing for Scotland.
For Scotland, yeah.
I watched that. JFK then, Ryan?
I get shot down in flames here about 3 or 4 months ago when I rated David Bates. I thought I was a cracking player and I thought we were wrong to let him go. And Baloo's just come in and no thing in my case, but same as myself, I thought he was a cracking player. And I think that we should have kept him.
Somebody said they thought he was rotten. Who was that?
That was me, mate. I thought he was a daddy, mate. And again, it goes back to...
That's a good one. Steady.
Very old-fashioned, Ryan. Very old-fashioned.
He beat about the bush. He was
What's the difference between a daddy and a pair of daddies, Ryan?
Was a tit or a pair of tits?
I thought, to be honest, David Bates was very, very poor. That was just my opinion. Again, talking about on the ball and stuff like that, I thought he was poor. I think he looked not too bad. He done not too bad for us in a quite a poor Rangers team. And I personally don't think he'd have survived under Gerrard. I think Gerrard, again, likes the 2 centre halves to be able to play, which is why he always opts for Joe Worrell. Because to be fair, Worrell at times is actually decent on the ball for building it for the back. I don't think Bates would have. For me, somebody said likes it in Scotland, and I've never seen him playing in Germany, so I can't comment. But for me, at times I just used to watch him on the ball, and I used to think,
well, the funny thing is, Ryan, I would use the same adjective for Worrell as you did for Bates. I think Worrell's distribution is absolutely shocking at times. I mean, it's like schoolboy stuff. I would classify him as a diddy. And I don't think the big fella that plays along is very much better. I think both of them are really wanting.
Are you saying go? I don't think it's a surprise that we need a couple of centre halves, Ryan.
Please.
I would say so, mate. But what I'd say on Goldson is I thought Goldson looked absolutely outstanding in the first couple of games of the season, and then it was actually after he slipped at Fir Park, he never kind of seemed to recover again for that. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. Remember the 3H game?
Remember it well,
when he slipped, and since that his confidence went. And I know he's been playing with an injury the last maybe since we come back. In fact, before the Celtic game, he's been playing with an injury. And he's been playing through that. To be fair to the boy, you can see it when he's running and all that. You know, he's not 100% fit. I think, to be fair, he's potentially a bit of a captain in the making for us. When I see him, and he's an organiser, he's a shouter, and he's a leader. And I think maybe if we sign another quality centre half, I think we could maybe have the makings a good partnership there. It depends what happens in the full-back areas. We definitely have looked a lot stronger this season. But what I'd also like to say, just on the set pieces, where I think this guy does let us down, is I think McGregor doesn't command that box at all, and McGregor causes us a lot of problems for cross balls. He doesn't want to come off his line.
That's always been the weakest part of Alan's game, isn't it?
Aye.
Yeah.
Because he's not the tallest, is he? But he's just 6 foot.
Can I come in there?
On you go, Bridge.
I was just going to say, like, on the boy Bates, most of us thought he's not a bad player. Looking at him against Celtic, some of his performances were really good. There was other performances you could see he wasn't quite there. But I think maybe when he went to Germany and apparently played quite well in his first couple of games that he got a start in, I think some of us were thinking anyway, maybe we missed out there. But we'll wait to see, and history will tell. Good luck to him. I said that at the start. Good luck to him. Wherever he goes, good luck to him. He pulled the Rangers jersey on and he did his best for us. And if he ever comes back, he's more than welcome.
Interesting to see how it pans out. But Lou, what's your kind of centre half? Who would you sound the ages with myself, late 20s, early 30s?
Who was that directed at?
You, Baloo. And so who would if you were picking a centre half pairing for the past, who would you
the past?
With? Aye.
I would either go Richard Gough or Derek Johnson.
Oh, that's together as a pair.
Oh no, either or. You mean a pairing?
Aye, he's a pairing.
Oh Christ, that's no easy. Because I like the idea of one centre half and a bit of mobility around about them. I mean, I think that's the way it's always pretty well been played, and I understand the way the game is now. No, I would stick with one big solid centre half commanding that area, and a bit of mobility around about them, a bit of capability, a bit of speed, a bit of crunching tackles. I don't know if I could. Yeah.
He's sweet.
Sweeper.
Aye, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right, okay. So it's a dying art. I mean,
it is, but hey, listen, things change in the game. Fashion, the trend is sort of you get. I think it depends who.
You can never understand it how you set yourself up as a square and one pass can take the whole defence out, but that's just a person. What about you then, Ryan? You're not quite as old as most of us on here. What would be your pairing if you had the choice that you could pick past?
It would be interesting. It would be interesting to see how, like Sir Richard Gough would get on if he was playing the Rangers team today. I don't know so much if it would be the same these days. For me, my generation, it was a bit. Richard Gough, obviously the 9-0 captain. I was kind of young at the time, but for me, growing up, I know we might have divided opinions, but I thought Amoruso was different class for us at times. Honestly, big Amoruso had everything in his locker, and I think he'd have been even better if he hadn't got that terrible injury, that Achilles injury he got when he was out for a year. I thought Big Amo was different class, and probably through the 9-0 era, I thought this boy was a bit of a donkey and all, but as he progressed a wee bit better, got better for us. Craig Moore, Big Oz was different class and all. He could play a wee bit for the back, but it'd be interesting to see how. I don't know how Richard Gough. I don't know if he'd be the same player if he was born in this generation. He might not have made it. To be play with Rangers in this generation. I don't know. It's a hard one to tell.
Well, anyway, gentlemen, hold your thoughts. I can't believe the time. How time flies when we're talking about the love of our life. Bridgeman.
Well, what can you say? Well, a marvellous, wonderful evening again. Brilliant discussions, great topics. Well done to them all. Huge big shout out to Cumbrian Bear. He managed to go in the lobby, so well done, guys. Well done for the thoughts and all that. So
Jacqueline must be looking after him.
I knew you'd get that one in. But can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, particularly Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, every single one is, keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers really need us. They really do. Keep it going.
Can I thank Ryan Baloo for coming in and joining yourself, Bridge? Fox, GFK, Blue Star, and of course the one and only George Logan. This is for taking the time to join us here on Rangers Radio. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 9 and 11, talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, Fox.
It's a place of great faith. It lies to the northland, and Ulster's its name. It has only 6 counties, but oh, what we now by bomb and by gun, but our history will tell them of others who tried. Our sons defended Ulster, they fought and they died. If a baby should sleep to in his old rebel town, he will speak of our friendship. But can we be one? Just to point to the red hand, to buy the Queen's crown. Say we're side by side to Scotland, and they won't let us down. Like brothers and sisters, that is all toast this one, that is drink to our Ulster, its heroes and sons. And while we are toasting to names we must join, that of William, Prince of our Rings, and the